Welcome to the Books, Beards, Booze podcast, where we drink booze, have beards, and talk books. Each episode, we tackle the best in news and brews, and then we do a deep dive on a free-to-read short story. So why don't you come on in and join us? As always, I'm Bob of Tales by Bob.
I'm the Ask the Podcast Derek.
And we're back.
We are here.
2 episodes in. With this episode, we have trumped season 3.5.
Well, what are you talking about? That was tons of episodes long, and we did brilliant. We were the best, biggest podcast in the world.
Yeah. So, but
don't look into that. Just go with it.
Yeah, I'm really excited. You know that we're keeping it going. So we have a little bit of podcast business to take care of, starting us off. Derek.
Yes.
Ted Cruz Beard Watch. Did y'all think we forgot that Ted Cruz had a beard?
No. We got to pay attention to this. This is important. Beards matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
We still are battling Big Razor.
Big Razor needs to go somewhere.
It does.
And I feel like.
Are we going to be the people that send him there, Derek?
I think we might.
We might
be.
Are we starting a revolution?
Don't call it a revolution. This is just the way it should be.
Fair.
Okay.
Don't call it a comeback. We've been here for years.
Making podcasts 100%. We didn't take any time off.
Exactly.
Not at all.
Wow, we would never take time off.
3.5. We're the best. Yeah. But no, yeah. So the Beard Watch, I think it's set in now. Like it's not going away for him.
Yeah, I really feel like this is a lifestyle move for him.
Yeah.
Like at first I thought this was just going to be a seasonal thing.
Just kind of see what he.
'Cause, I mean, Texas hot. Like I myself, I love my beard, but God, it gets
sometimes
you get the high Alabama heat, and you just think maybe just go to a goatee for a bit, something just knock a little hair off. But I think if I did that, my lady friend would just drag me in the road and shoot me.
Yeah,
she's made it abundantly clear. She's like, I love you.
Yes,
but beard.
Correct. Well, see, my thing is, and this is how I knew it was time to start to come back to the podcast.
Yeah.
Is I've recently been like, man, I should just shave this beard off.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was like, it's been over a decade.
Yeah. Well, no, I'll say this. I got a similar wild hair. I was really talking about it because, like, so for those who want to know about my general state of health, I finally went to the doctor. As you know, hadn't been to a legit doctor since I was like 17, and I've got health insurance. So I was like, oh, let me get a general practitioner to just. And she was basically, hey, you know that working night shift thing you do? I was like, yeah. Said, yeah, it's killing you. Like, cool.
Sounds about right.
Cool. And so she sent me to get a sleep apnea test, like a sleep study done. And spoiler, I've got sleep apnea. But to do that, they put a ton of electrodes and diodes and neodes and I don't know what all
geodudes.
Yeah. And so I'm a hairy guy, and so they're like sticking, it's the beard. She straight up said, yeah, we hate people who have beards trying to get these because they're trying to make contact with your skin. You got a beard in the way. And I told my lady friend, I was like, look, if I have to go back again, I'm going to shave to a goatee and some fat chops so that there's a gap there so that they can make skin contact. And she was like, no, you're not. I was like, okay.
Guess I'm not.
I'm not. Right. But no, but while I was thinking about it, like, you know what?
Next time you should be like, okay, I'll just dye then.
Well, I really thought, though, I was like, I could just, and my thought was to just completely shave for a fresh start. Like, completely shave, right. Start from scratch, get some real good beard oils, some lotions, that kind of stuff, and just really do it from the word go. And then I didn't. Yeah, so it turns out when I was supposed to go back for the next sleep study thing, because they're like, I'll tell you the funny story. When we got done, the lady was like, I was like, so what are your impressions? She's like, oh, I'll be seeing you again. And I was like, okay.
That's good to hear.
Okay. Well, what does that mean? And she was like, yeah, you stop breathing like on average 19 times an hour when you're on your side, and on your back it's double that. It's like, okay, that doesn't sound good. Well, it turns out she was totally wrong. The doctor called me back a few days later, had actually read over the study, and it's only 18 times an hour.
Well, that's that's a lot better.
Instead of 19, yeah. So I'm basically, it's not even really sleep apnea at that
why would
point.
you even go?
Yeah, but no. So they have to get me fitted for a sleep apnea machine, a CPAP or whatever. But apparently, I had an appointment set, and I called them the night before. Like, hey, y'all never called me to confirm this appointment. Like, oh yeah, that's because there's a recall on the CPAP machine. So fuck off till we call you. It's like, okay,
cool.
So
right.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so now that we've gone way
Completely
into the weeds, Ted Cruz, status of his beard.
So it's clearly something he's going to keep now.
Yeah,
I don't hate it. I'm not mad at it.
It's got a stately amount of gray to it.
It does, which I always like.
Yeah,
I love the gray in the beard.
One.
The issue is, and I think you kind of already pointed this out to me, and I get why he does it now, but it's a little too light. Like there's not enough hair to it.
Yeah,
He keeps it trimmed down pretty low, good slope and stuff like that. I would like it a little bit higher, a little bit more hair, but also the fullness of it.
It's a little on the thin side, but it's not thin. It's just that he keeps it short enough so it looks thinner than it could be.
Right, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. But Texas makes sense.
Damn senator, grow a mountain man beard. What are they going to do? Tell you no? Oh no, you can't have a beard like that on the Senate floor.
You can't have a luscious beard.
Yeah, like you are a senator,
bro.
Do what you want. Grow a big beard. Like he is Ted Cruz. At this point, you either like Ted Cruz or you don't like Ted Cruz.
The beard ain't changing that.
Yeah. And in fact, I dare say there would be a couple folks be like, you know what? I don't like his politics, but fuck, man, he's got that mountain man beard
But
going.
You know what? I appreciate the beard.
Yeah.
I appreciate the beard.
Get that beard vote, Ted Cruz.
My thing is, that's kind of where I was like, it's just, and it makes sense because he probably has somebody that, actually takes care of it.
Yeah.
But it's just
probably pays way too much for someone.
And around the mouth and stuff like that, it's just too clean.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah. But
my thing is, look,
that's what I was going to say.
I get rich and famous.
If I go in and have a shave every day and they just trim my stuff up, I wouldn't be mad at how clean I looked with that either.
Well, my thing is, I'm rich and famous. I'm going to look how I want to look, and maybe that's the look he wants. Maybe his lady friend is like, no,
I like a little bit of beard.
Yeah, but not too much. So there are could be other factors at play. But I'm one of 100 senators. I'm going to have the beard I want to have.
Yep.
But yeah. All right. So that's
Beard Watch.
Yeah, that's Beard Watch. Well. If there's any startling developments, we'll keep you in the loop.
Which I hope not.
If you think that there's some other Beard Watch that we should be doing,
let us know.
Yeah,
I'm always up for watching a beard.
Maybe I was thinking we should keep an eye on James Harden,
just to see kind of where he's at.
Yeah, where he's at these days.
I haven't seen. I don't watch basketball much anymore.
Okay, Derek, I got a couple bits of news for you.
All right, lay it on me.
So this first bit of news is a little mean of me because I know you don't know anything about Japan. So. There is a don't kill me. There is a Japanese chain with 500 locations around the world called Beard Papas.
What?
Yes. So here's a little bit from their website.
I'm in my head. I'm guessing what this is before you tell me.
All right, what do you think that they make?
I feel like they make a thing.
They provide a food. They are an eatery
I
called
assume
Beard Papas.
That it's just a restaurant where all the servers are guys with beards.
Okay. You are...
It's the way I think of it is it would be a male maid cafe, but instead of dressing up like maids and stuff, it's attractive fit men
Hooters
with beards.
but beards?
Yes.
Okay. You're wrong, but I love that idea.
But I know they have something like that, but super muscle guys. Yeah. And you can and girls can come in and pay for them to come, and there's a thing called the meat circle or something. It's hilarious. I don't know. I found this recently, but
all right, yeah,
anyways.
no, I'm all in. So here's off their website. In 1999, a small bakery opened in the small town of Osaka, Japan, which is not a small town.
No, not so much.
People in the town couldn't resist the aroma from the bakery or the kind face of the owner, Yuji Hirota. His fluffy white beard was so renowned that he became known as Beard Papa to all of his regular customers. He perfected the art of his pastries by making a double layered puff shoe on the inside and a pie crust on the outside. I've watched a fuck off lot of Great British Bake Show.
Does any of that make sense to you?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
And it sounds amazing. Okay, it does. Like shoe pastry.
What does it mean? I don't understand.
So, like, think of like a pie crust is going to be on the outside.
Right.
A shoe pastry is just a very light, kind of airish, fluffy pastry that they usually stuff with some sort of like cream.
Oh, okay.
So he proceeded to then make the perfect filling made with a mixture of whipped and vanilla custard cream. So
Sounds
it's
great.
going to be like a ball of light pastry filled with cream, and on the outside is a firmer pie crust style pastry. Which
sounds great
to me. Weird hot take. The crust is the best part of a pie. Of pretty much any pie. I like
done
for me,
correctly. It is actually it actually might be the best part. Yeah, you're
I
right.
like. The thing is, the pie crust doesn't taste the same if there's no pie in there. So you can't just eat a pie crust. That would be
ridiculous.
Yeah. So, but
when you get to the back side of the pie,
yeah, that's so good.
The best
Especially
part.
if a little bit of whipped cream left. Just oh man. Anyway, so all these locations, they make regional specific like stuff to put in it. So like in New Orleans, they do like New Orleans theme, like a king cake style shoe pastry or whatnot. So I've looked. The closest one to us is there's a Beard Papa's Peachtree Corners, Georgia.
Wait, hold on. I thought these were all in Japan.
No.
Bob.
Yes.
Let's do this.
Peachtree Corners, Georgia. I think it's like outskirts of Atlanta. So, well, it's a little late in the day, Derek. But no, we need to make a road trip.
I thought that's so in my head. I thought this was only Japanese based.
Yeah.
That's why I said what I said.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have something crazy like that over here. But no.
But yeah, no. They got 500 around the world.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
they've got, like, looking on their website, I want to say they've probably got a good 40 or 50 here in the U.S.
Bro, let's go.
New Orleans and
as soon as you
Georgia.
said New Orleans,
yeah,
I was like,
New Orleans
what?
and Georgia are the two closest from just my brief perusal of their website.
So say again, what was the New Orleans one?
I think they do like a king cake.
I don't know what that is.
King cake is a Mardi Gras thing where you it's a cake that they put a little plastic baby inside of, and if you get the slice with the baby, it's good luck.
Oh, okay.
But it's normally like a multicolored cake. So if I remember correctly, that's what they do. They do a king cake.
In Georgia's peaches?
I have to think. No, that's the thing. The article I was reading about it was that clued me into this because I just did a search for beard news, and they just opened the New Orleans location. So that was
the one they were talking about.
Yeah. So then I went to their website
to find the closest
right.
one.
And so, but there you couldn't click on the individual locations to see what they
like,
what they did.
What could it be? It's either
it's got to be peaches
or pecans, maybe.
But I just got to think it's peach.
It's got to be peach.
It's got to be peach.
That's what I would.
Which
think.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm not the.
I think like a peach.
Fan,
I like a peach cobbler.
Yeah.
So
it's one of those things that I like, but I wouldn't choose all the time. But as a special treat.
Yeah, because I'm thinking it's going to be like a peach custard inside. So it's not going to be like chunks of peach. It'll be more like a creamy, whipped, peachy flavored kind of custard. I think.
I don't know, man.
No, I'm all in.
Let's.
Yeah, Beard Papas.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Okay. Here's my other bit of news.
Uh-huh.
According to the Ann Arbor District Library, the daughter-in-law of Mary Rowland Fisher recently returned a library book that was checked out 70 years ago.
What kind of late fee are we looking at there, boss?
Okay, so they didn't... Why no one sat there and figured out the total? Well, I know why, because I didn't do it either. But currently, their daily overdue fee is 25 cents. So 25 cents times 70 years.
Yeah, but that's not how it works.
Yeah, so
trust me.
Yeah.
As all the budgets I've worked on, I
well,
need to know
right,
the time frame.
right. So yeah, you also got to think like
when
back when this checked out, it might have been a penny a day,
exactly.
or they may not have had a daily overdue fee. So impossible to say, really, I guess, but would have been substantial.
That's hilarious.
Fisher's daughter-in-law, Carrie McGill, attached a note with the returned book that stated its due date may have been overlooked because Fisher was preparing to start a family at the time. And I quote, "Please accept this rather late, overdue book return. Perhaps you might consider waiving the fine, as Mary passed away in 1967.
Well, and in that case...
Yeah. So, additionally, on top of the 25-cent a day daily overdue fee, the Ann Arbor District Library's borrowing terms state that members who accrue unpaid fees that reach $25 or more will have their library cards revoked. So, it could have been dramatic. She could have lost her library card. But so, it turns out that the book, she was a teacher, and she checked out a book seemingly to help her teach a class. And then got caught up in some, I don't know.
I mean, that's one of those things where you like make a display of it in your library, and like do a little write up on like this is who the person was.
Yeah.
This is what happened.
You definitely don't put it back on the shelves.
You make a story for it.
Yeah, you put it in a little
glass case.
Glass case.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. No.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So that was neat.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to our general talk. Last episode we talked about the favorite thing that we've read over quarantine. This time I thought we'd just kind of bounce back and forth a little bit. Maybe we're not going to list everything that we read, but just what are some other things that we read that we enjoyed over our quarantine. Derek, do you want to start us off?
Sure. So read a lot of manga, as I said on the previous episode. Got some stuff for Christmas. Got some stuff for my birthday. Got some stuff while I was drunk and looking at things on eBay.
Yeah.
As you do.
As you do. Who hasn't got drunk and bought manga off eBay?
I don't know. And if you haven't, you're not living life right.
I think there's a case to be made.
Yeah. So one of my so a lot of manga, got a list, but what we'll say one of the best thing that I've probably read
other than Bakugan Digimon.
Other than Bakuman, which is, so spoiler.
Okay.
In the future, I'm going to try and get Bob to read a manga.
Yeah. Is it going to be Bakuman?
I don't know yet.
It does sound intriguing.
Briefly, let's do this. We'll do this real quick.
Okay.
When I make a suggestion and then we'll discuss it on the show.
Yeah.
Would you rather it be something that I think is in your oeuvre, or something that is that you would have never thought to try and read if I was not suggesting it?
Probably that. But to be fair, I'll read fucking anything.
Right, and that's my thing. Well, so this is one that I really liked, and you probably heard me mention it. It's called Blue Period.
Okay.
It's basically a manga about a guy or a guy in middle school who is basically very studious and very good at pretty much everything he does.
Yeah.
But has no real purpose because he just does what people tell him to do.
Okay.
And he, through whatever means, discovers art. He just happens to go into art class.
Yeah.
And sees a really well done.
Blue Period.
And he's just like, holy crap. What is that? I don't understand. And he just ends up like, I mean, I guess I could try drawing a thing.
Yeah.
And then he just gets this bug. And it's just, he basically decides to dedicate his entire life to art. Right. I
like it.
And it's him scrambling to try and prove to his parents that it's worth pursuing, trying to get into one of the most prestigious schools.
Yeah.
It's teaching you about art, about perspective, about everything to do with art. I
feel like Superfan Ryan should read this.
He absolutely should.
Yeah. Like this is right up his alley.
And the art style is not manga-y. Yeah. It's very sketchy and
very artistic.
Yeah, it's amazing. I loved it. And it's basically just the story of a person without passion, finding it, and then dedicating themselves to it.
I like it. I'm going to play off that. This is something that we both love. Did you know that Little Depressed Boy did a Book Zero trade paperback?
I think so, but I haven't read it.
I've got it. I'll let you borrow it. It's basically all the early days of Little Depressed Boy before he actually started making it into Little Depressed Boy, like old comics that he had published other places, sketches, stuff like that. But a lot of the comics are all blue. Like in early days, he kind of played around with the idea that everything was tinted blue.
Right.
It is pretty good. I mean, it's obviously not as good as
not as refined as Little Depressed Boy.
But it's neat to kind of see the genesis of Little Depressed Boy. Which is if you haven't read Little Depressed Boy, it's fantastic. And rumor mill has it that it may be starting back up.
Playing off that is, so you talked about how this is really interesting, and you kind of see the kind of the footsteps that would lead to Little Depressed Boy, and see how it is currently or whatever. One of the other things that I started reading, but then didn't follow through on, was the Warriors of Altai, the Robert Jordan predecessor to
the book that didn't get published.
Right, that he wrote, and then basically the story is he wrote it. It was good. They wanted to print it. He had some falling out. I forget exactly what happened with the editor.
Yeah.
They wouldn't release it to him. He couldn't get it so that he could print it in his new location or publisher.
Yeah.
So he had to start over and write a new thing.
And that was Wheel of Time.
And that was the Wheel of Time. Yeah. So
I think it worked out well for him.
Oh, it did. It's got a lot of. You can see hints, like you can see, oh, this is an analog to this type of person in this book, and this kind of person is this kind of person. So it's really interesting. People kind of said it was the proto Wheel of Time, and you see a lot of the similar stuff.
Okay.
And
it just didn't grab you as much as Wheel of Time.
No, see, that was the thing that I was gonna have an issue. Like, I just have not been reading much. Like during this whole time, you'd think I'd have had plenty of time to read, and I did. Yeah. But I didn't because I kept trying to read stuff, and it just
didn't grab you.
I don't know. It wasn't that it didn't grab me. Nothing grabbed me.
You. I'll say this: I had a weird thing. So this is something else that I read that kind of ties into that. So I, as I've gotten older, I'm a very spurty reader. Like I will go 3-4 months not read anything, and then I will read 20 books in 2 months or something. You know, like it's
fits and starts.
Yeah, fire and ice. Woo. And so, all right. Many years ago, my dad had a deal where if he would buy us books, he would, if we told him we wanted a book, he would get it for us. And this is early days of Amazon, and like back when Barnes and Nobles had a decent website and stuff like that. So I got 2 books that were wildly influential on me. The first one was She Is the Darkness, which I didn't realize it. I got it because of the cover, but that was actually like book 5 of the Black Company series.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. But because I got that, I got the rest of the books. Mm-hmm. And to this day, it is far and away one of my absolute favorite fantasy series.
Right.
The other book I got with She Is the Darkness is, it was called The Seer King by Chris Bunch. And I read it was the first in a trilogy. It's Seer King, Demon King, Warrior King. I read it, loved it, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if the second book wasn't out yet. I don't know if I just didn't want
to go a different direction.
I don't know. Maybe I got real deep into the Black Company. I don't know, but I read the book. It was fantastic. Found the book years later, reread it. It was like found it on my shelf, reread it. Fantastic. Loved it. It's one of those stories that is told like how the book opens is this guy was the first tribune to the emperor, mm-hmm. and he's now in exile, and he has just heard that the emperor, who was also in exile, died, and he's now just expecting any day they're going to come execute him as well. And so he's telling the story of how he went from this like super young legate in the cavalry, and how he became the first tribune to the emperor.
Right.
And it was just fantastic.
Really good. Have you read all of them now?
All right. So I don't know what made me think of it, but I was like, I just wonder if those books are on Kindle. Mm-hmm. Not only is that trilogy on Kindle, it's on Kindle Unlimited.
Nice.
Yeah. So I super excited. Read the first book and like downloaded it, read it in just like a couple days. Fired up the second book, read the first like 40% of it, and then set it down. And like a month and a half went by where I just couldn't make myself pick it up. Like, I was busy, I had a lot of stuff going on, but it's like I would just be like, nah, I'll just cruise on Reddit. Like, the Kindle would be right there. Nah, I'll just cruise on Reddit. And just did that over and over. I just couldn't motivate myself to pick the book back up. Mm-hmm. And while this book wasn't as good as the first book, it was still really good, and I was still really interested in it, but I just couldn't pick it up. Well, then I did. I picked it up, finished it the night. I read like the other 60% of it that night, and then read the final book over the next 2 nights. Like, so then it was like, month and a half break where I just could not make myself read, and then okay, boom, finish the trilogy in 3 nights, kind of deal. And it was good. None of the books were as good as the first one. But
they never are.
Yeah, they never are. But the first book was, for me, this is not necessarily for everyone, but for me, it was a solid 9. I'd say book 2 was a solid 7. Book 3 was probably like an 8.5 maybe. It was good.
I wonder. Well, actually, I was going to ask a question, but I know the answer, so I'll ask it anyways.
Yeah.
I wonder why the third in a trilogy is always better than the second.
Because my theory is because people want trilogies, and these books should be duologies. They shouldn't be trilogies. They should be duologies. People have a beginning in mind and they have an ending in mind, and then they have to fill the space in the middle, and so they wind up with filler in the second book.
I will push back on that by saying it may not be because of that. It might just be that the climax is more exciting.
Yeah.
So even if they have a 3-step story, the conclusion is naturally going to be more hype.
And it's definitely one of those, like, not in every case, but I think the majority of cases of why is like the second book is significantly worse than the first and third. It's because they had a great idea for the first book, great idea for the last one. But then the book deal that they signed with the publisher was they're like, oh, this is really good. They read the first book. Oh, could you make this trilogy? And they're like, well, I already got an idea for the next book, but sure, I could figure out something to put between those 2 books.
I feel like
they do, because they're creative people, but it's not as good as the idea that they came up with.
I'm going to choose to look at it as positively as possible. I think that they just... The first book is really good because it's the first. Yeah. It's new. It's fresh.
Yeah.
The last one is the culmination of everything.
The payoff, yeah.
And the middle, it could be, no matter how good, it's not going to beat the new, and it's not going to beat the conclusion.
Could be.
So
I just know, for me, from a personal standpoint, like even with a short story, writing a short story, I typically go into a short story with a beginning and an end. And then you can't really write the story where you just cut from that beginning scene to the end scene a lot of the time, because then the payoff's not there. You got to build up to that payoff. And so I tend to struggle with, on average, with middles more than beginnings and ends. For me, beginnings are easy. Ends are harder than beginnings. It's those middles that get me.
The only time I can think of one that like bucks that trend, because normally that's the way it is. It's pretty much always, I like the first, second is and then the third is really good, is Star Wars, because the second movie's the best.
Yeah.
That's the only time I can really think of one that.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe
do you
Lord of the
like
Rings?
Lego, Derek?
I've never.
Hot take, everyone. If you're not watching Lego Masters on, I don't know if it's Hulu or Netflix or whatever, on the streaming service, it's a contest, like a reality show contest, but it's master Lego builders, like building. Like it's like a challenge. Like, hey, this challenge, I want y'all to build. So anyway, one of the challenges was to recreate scenes from Star Wars movies.
Oh man!
And so they had how the episode started was they had to build a droid. Like build us a droid. Your placement in how the droid does determines the order in which you get to pick from these iconic Star Wars scenes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Don't tell me. I'm going to now remove that from my mind because I have way too many things I'm already wasting my time doing.
Yeah.
That I don't have more.
This is what me and the lady friend go to bed to every night, which she falls asleep halfway through. I watch it and then the next one, and then we just repeat the cycle.
Asleep.
We repeat the cycle nightly. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
It works. It works.
Let's see. What else have I read? Oh, another one and this is another one that I started and then stopped, but it legitimately... This is kind of the way it was with Warrior of the Altai or whatever too. I just forgot I was reading it.
Yeah.
Because I just have, I got busy with work, completely forgot that in my spare time this is what I was doing, and then didn't remember for months. But I was reading Queen of the Storms by Raymond E. Feist.
Is that the
second book?
Yeah.
I started reading
it. You liked the first one, but you were
I really liked I liked it, but it felt like a book long prologue.
Oh, that's what you said. That's right. It
set things up, and I was really excited. Like it was one of those where I kept waiting for things to start happening, and things were not happening, and I was like, ah. But then at the end, it got to someplace where, oh, I really want to see what happens next. So we finally got to that point, and then
okay.
But I really need to get back to that because I want to read that.
Okay. I finally read another Robin Hobb trilogy outside of Assassin's Apprentice.
I kept thinking about that, and I was like, should I bring this up?
It was a Soldier's Son trilogy. Yeah, it was trash. It wasn't trash. It just had an amazingly cool premise that she, to me, just executed poorly. The first book was good. But the protagonist was just so... I just couldn't get behind the protagonist. So read that at your own peril.
Since you mentioned Robin Hobb, I will mention that I bought the illustrated collector's edition of Assassin's Apprentice in hardback, and it's sitting on my desk at work, and I'm reading that during breaks during lunch.
Yeah.
God, I love that book. God, I love that book.
So I finally read The Martian by Andy Weir.
Mm-hmm. I thought you had read that a while ago.
No. Creative consultant Tanya read it.
Yeah, but I thought you read it afterward.
No, I got it. Really good. Legitimately, just a really solid book. And then probably the next best thing I read was Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. If you're watching, she's done mostly fantasy stuff. This is her first. Not like traditional fantasy kind of deal. She's got, I can't remember the name of the series that just got the Grishaverse is where her fantasy stuff, but they're making one of her duologies into a show on Netflix, I think. I can't for the life of me remember what it is, but she wrote a book called Ninth House, which is criminal paranormal investigator set in Yale. And like the old, so the kind of the premise behind it is all these like Skull and Bones, those old
you got me
like
so far.
secret societies, that each one of them actually specializes in a different type of magic.
I'm with it.
And it was really, really good. So it's called the first book in the Alex Stern series, so I'm really hopeful that we get more. I loved it because I love those secret society kind of stuff.
Yeah, so that's why I was.
So did the Black Monday murders? That
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like my favorite comic that is about to start back. I'm told, and they're going to finish it finally. It's like that in a book form, and it's this girl, very fish out of water. Like she was, like basically a street kid. Druggy kind of person, but she has a power. Basically, she can see the dead, and they bring her to Yale. They figure out that she can do this, and they bring her to Yale, places she's not equipped to be, but she's a student there. They enroll her there, and very fish out of water. She's struggling to keep up with her classes while investigating a murder. And it's really good. I've read one other book by Leigh Bardugo. It was Six of Crows, which is first in a duology. It's a heist.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like we've talked about this.
Yeah, and it's really good. And it's in the Grishaverse as well. So, yeah. So that was kind of... I read some other stuff. I'll tell you the thing I read the most of, weirdly. David Thorne, years ago... It was his website is called like 26/B or something like that, and he got famous. The thing he was most famous for was, did you ever see the thing where the guy tried to pay his power bill with a picture of a spider? He sends in he drew a picture of a spider, and was like, "Oh, here it is." And like, we can't accept this. Oh, I understand. I only drew it with 7 legs. Here it is with 8 legs. There you go.
No, I have not.
But this guy, he's very snarky. He's Australian, got a very snarky, sarcastic wit about him. And most of his contact is email exchanges with people. And it's very much just his hyperbolic email exchanges with people. And they're typically quite funny. Well, so I had always kind of wanted to, because he quit posting these on his website when he started writing books, for the most part. And so I loved his stuff, and his first book was put out by Penguin. And then, I don't know, Penguin didn't do the rest, but he puts out 1 book a year on Kindle Unlimited of whatever he's done over the... like what exchanges he's had, and sometimes he brings back an old story or something like that. So there are like 8 of them out there. I read them all. The last one was the last one I wasn't real big on. It was I don't want to say it was a downer. There were a lot of stories he had already told before, but it was in the middle of COVID, basically. Him losing people to COVID. It definitely had a different tone to it, but it was a very real tone. Like, that's the thing. Like, he's just super snarky, sarcastic asshole, more or less. But he just has these moments of where he gets really real with you. That because he's been this snarky shit the whole time, that it
sticks with you.
Yeah. So it's like when he's being really real with you, it just really resonates. And so it was good for that, but it wasn't as funny, especially since a lot of the stories I'd read before. So I don't know if he's kind of milked the cow for all it can give at this point.
What it is.
Yeah, because a lot of it is email exchanges, but then a lot of it is just like stories from his life, and a life can only have so many hilarious anecdotes to it, and he's written a ton of them up. So I don't know. Him moving to America really helped out, though.
Well, his... I'm sorry.
Yeah, David Thorne is his name. Thorne. Just look him up. All his books are on Kindle Unlimited, except for the first one, I guess, that was published by Penguin. And they're quick. They're all quick reads, but they're typically fucking hilarious.
Talking about things that were kind of downers, but also happened over the past year or so. Another thing I had been reading was Berserk by Kentaro Miura. He just died.
Yeah.
He'd had health problems for a long time.
All right, first off, let me just say, I didn't know that Berserk was still a thing. Like, I knew it was like a movie and they made an anime of it. I thought that
it was over.
The manga had ended fucking decades ago or some shit. I didn't realize he'd still been doing it.
Yeah, at this point, if you exist on the internet, it's basically considered the greatest manga of all time.
Really?
Even before this, like, it was the highest ranked.
Yeah.
Like, the art's insanely good.
Yeah.
The story is...
How many volumes is it now?
I mean, I can't remember, but I know I've got one omnibus.
Yeah.
And that's like one of, I don't think this is right, but I keep wanting to say 6.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. And he died without finishing it.
Ooh.
But I saw a lot of things.
Did he map out where it was supposed to go?
Doesn't matter. A lot of the things people are saying is like no one else is ever touching it.
Okay.
The point of the story kind of was that in some ways. Like that's just how life is. That's just how life is, and you fight it as long as you can, and then you're done.
Okay.
But I don't know. It's really good, but yeah, it really sucked. He died.
Yeah.
The outpouring of support and the number of people that I would have never thought had even heard of it.
Yeah.
That were like, this has influenced me in a major way.
Well, think about someone like me who fundamentally cares fuck all about manga.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, I will definitely read it, but like, it is not on my radar. The only reason it's on my radar at all is because of you,
right?
And the fact that I have to walk past it to get to the horror section in Books a Million, much to my chagrin. And so, but like, even like it made major news.
Yeah,
you know, like I saw about it. Like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, there was stuff all over the place.
Yeah,
but that happened, and then one last thing that I read.
Yeah,
and this is something I was considering jokingly giving to you as my manga recommendation.
Yeah,
it's because you'd never ever read this if I hadn't given it to you. It's called Komi-san Can't Communicate.
Okay.
And it's a story about a girl in high school named Komi-san, who everyone in the school worships the ground she walks on. She's the most beautiful, perfect. Everyone's like, oh, she's the most amazing person.
So basically, it gender swapped me.
So anyways, she's like just this amazing person. Everybody loves her. Mm-hmm. But she's so cool and aloof and doesn't really take to people. And then you find out that, oh, that's what you think. And then it shows what is happening in her head. And she is this horribly anxious, absolutely terrified to so much as speak to anyone girl. Yeah. Who, while everyone else sees all of her imperfections as perfection, she's freaking out mentally all the time. And has like no friends because she's so socially anxious. Yeah, and I would read that. And the main character finds out, I forget exactly how, but she's too shy to talk to anyone. Yeah. So she'll write stuff down on like the blackboard, and writes down. She's like, I have a dream to get out of my shell and make 100 friends. And he's like, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you. Yeah. And it's just about her being incredibly socially awkward and getting in funny situations where what she is thinking is happening is so not what everyone else thinks is happening. Yeah. And they're like, oh, she's this amazing person. And like in reality, she's like, oh, I tripped and accidentally did this thing that now everyone thinks is the bee's knees. It's really cute and hilarious. Yeah. And I've read like three, and it's almost in small vignettes. Okay. Like it's a small, it's almost in strips. Yeah. Where it just kind of does like a page is a prank, and then we're done. Next joke. Okay. And
I would read that.
It was pretty fun, and I was like, I don't know what. Honest to God, the reason I bought it is all the memes. There are a ton of memes on the internet in the corners of places that I go that always had her in it, and everyone's like, she's the most precious thing ever. Yeah.
Cherish her.
Yeah, basically. And I was like, oh, let me try it. And I was like, oh, this is cute.
Yeah. I'll tell you the thing that pissed me off the fucking most in quarantine when it comes to reading. So I finally decided, like, I had been really into comics there for a while, like buying up trades, and I got out of it for a while. And I hate waiting on comics. I hate it with a passion. So a lot of time has passed, and I went and I looked to see, like, all right, well, what of the comics I was reading are still ongoing, what have finished. And so I'm on a mission to all the stuff I was reading to collect all the trades to like wrap up these series, and then as I complete one, then I go through and I reread what I've already read and just read it all the way through. Well, I had gotten a book called Scales and Scoundrels. It was the first of 2 trades. Got it when it first came out. Fantastic. Love the art style to it. And just the characters, it was so well done. And so then I got the second one, and it ends very cliffhanger-y. And so I was like, oh, well, okay, so we're going to get more. And I look, and I'm like, no, there's no more. But there is. So basically what they did was they took the first 2 trades and put it into one book. and then basically wrote another 2 trades worth to be the second book. And so I picked up, but they're like, and then we're done. That is it. We've told the story. We're fucking done. And so I pick up this second large book. You know, I've got the first 2 trades, so now I need the second one. They never released those as individual issues or as trades or anything. It was just, you can only get it in this one book.
Right.
They end it on, like, not necessarily a cliffhanger, but, like, very clearly making it look like, well, there's still more story to tell. On. But you've already said you're not going to fucking tell anymore. And if you know you're not going to tell anymore, don't fucking do that. End it. So tie it, put a bow on it, fucking call it done. If 5 years from now you decide you want to revisit it, cool.
So it's not where it's like, oh, this story has concluded, but they're going to move on with their lives, and it's clear that they're continuing on.
Yeah, it's basically like a minor character that you keep bumping into. You find out is part of a large conspiracy, and is talking with someone like, oh yeah, no, we'll have our agents be looking out for this, that, and that.
That's
like,
bullshit.
Yeah, I was so pissed. It's still fantastic.
No, fuck that.
But just that, like, if it's almost like if I ever let you borrow it, I'm just going to cut like the last page of the book out so you don't see that.
No, because then I'll be looking at all the other halfway, or the part-time characters and be like, which one is it?
Yeah. Ooh, I was so frustrated.
Yeah, that would suck.
Okay. All right. Well, let's dive into our short read because it's our short read episode.
Yeah.
And we're still on Conan, and this time it's Queen of the Black Coast. Still Robert Howard. Still Conan. Same bat time, same bat place.
I loved it.
Yes. I like this one so much more than... I like Tower of the Elephant. I like this one more.
So do I. So Tower of the Elephant, I was like, oh, so this is what Conan is. This is what I expect Conan to be.
Yeah, but he's so much more.
Yeah, so that's what I expected. It's like, okay, yeah, this is fun. I'm enjoying this. Like, cool. That was great. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
That's what I expected for the next one.
Nope. So this is so you can see the progression. The first one, he's literally walking around in a loincloth and sandals. This one, he's got greaves. He's got a big red cloak. He's
basically
got armor.
Pimped out. He's all purples, baby.
Yeah,
all purples.
Yeah. No. And he spends the time as a pirate.
Yeah, which I knew you would like.
Yeah, so it's basically like there's Thief Conan and then Pirate Conan, and then I'm not going to spoil where we're heading with him. But so this is some years later in his story.
Mm-hmm.
You start.
But he's still pretty young because they reference that.
Because he started adventuring at like 15.
Yeah.
So is it Argosi or Argonia?
Argonia? I think it's Argos.
Argos. I think is where Argonia, something like that, is where they're at now. Mm-hmm. So he started in the last story. He was in Zamoria. Mm-hmm. This country is like down and to the right, I think. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of gone through like Shem, and he ends up passing, but he's gone through some other places. He winds up now. He's here, mm-hmm. and how fucking badass is it when like, what are you like, why are you running?
That was my favorite part, probably the whole story, because he was just like so confused. He's like, what? I already told them what I was going to tell them. That's all I was going to give them.
I told them I wasn't going to give up my friend. He's my friend. I'm not going to give up my friend. I told them that, so we're done. But they weren't done, so I just killed him.
But I liked that. He was like, and then they kept getting angry, and I didn't really understand why they were getting angry. So then I started getting angry, but I kept my cool. But then that guy eventually said something about imprisoning me, so I split his head in two.
Yeah. Loved it.
I was like...
Loved it. That really was probably the best part of the story.
The thing is like, normally, that's not my thing. I don't... There's a morality that I just can't get past, but like, the way he said it, it's like, no, kind of like, he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Even what was done to his friends was completely morally justified.
Yeah.
Like, he killed a dude for attacking his woman, basically. Yeah. And he's like... And then they were going to imprison him for, like...
Yeah.
No, fuck that. Fuck that. So I was like, no, kill him.
Yeah.
Kill that judge. Cut him.
Yeah. No, it was fantastic.
Oh, it was so good. And then I liked that See, that's the thing, is like, I didn't know what to expect with Conan.
Yeah.
I didn't know if he was going to be like an asshole to everyone all the time.
Well,
which is kind of what I was thinking.
So here's kind of the thing. This was something that I never picked up on, but when I was reading, I try and read around these stories as well. Read a little, like, basically, if this story has a Wikipedia on it, I'll go and kind of read, or maybe just read some more in depth on like Conan, like just try and have a little bit more to that I can bring in. And so this was something. So we talked in the last episode. He's kind of racist, but kind of a feminist.
Yeah.
And so this is the story that's going to really show that. Like he's kind of just the tropes. Like he uses so many tropes with like black people that.
Yeah, I was a little confused by that.
Like that part is not great. But so something that I was reading, this person who like studied Conan, the point that they made is if Conan is in a group that is led by a man, he is constantly undermining so that he can become the boss. Like he's going to undercut, he's going to scheme until he's the boss. But if a woman is in charge, he kind of just goes with it. And that's what you see here. Like
not necessarily. Because with the Seer captain, he was just like, okay, I don't know anything about ships.
Well, yeah, no, that was true. But
so he was just like, I'm going to support you until...
this is more talking about like if he's in like a mercenary unit or something like
which I haven't seen
in an army, yeah.
Well, no, to be fair, he's the best.
True.
So why wouldn't he be in charge?
Of course, yeah. But no, so and this is it kind of shows it. And if I have a problem with the story, it's he's kind of passive during the middle part of this story, and that part wasn't quite as enjoyable. Like or basically, it's not a very long part where it's basically just talking about like, okay, so they did some pirating, yada yada yada, and he shifted into too passive of a character for me.
So I could see that, and I definitely get that. The only reason I was okay with it, first of all, it was so quick, and they yada-yada'd over it.
Yeah, they did kind of yada. And that was another thing I kind of... and so that's another point that I read that someone made, is like, Conan is constantly telling you, oh yeah, I was just robbing these people, I just did this thieving, I was a pirate, but they never really show him being a bad guy. It's normally him... overcoming
heroic moments.
Yeah. So it was like, oh, he was a pirate. Oh, yeah, he robbed a bunch of people, but you don't see it.
Yeah, well, that's smart though. That's show. Yeah.
But that's that yada. So he kind of yadas over being a pirate. But damn, I would have liked to see a little bit more.
So I kind of liked that because in the way we were discussing, it makes sense. Because think about the first story we read. The other guy had the plan, and he was just the strong arm.
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. That sounds good. Yeah, I'll back your play.
Yeah.
So he met, what's her name, Bellet?
Bellet.
Yeah, so meets Bellet. She's the one with the plans. She's the one with the ideas. And he's like, oh, you got a plan? You know what to do? Oh, cool. Yeah. And all I got to do is, that's what I feel like, is like, if someone is competent, he's cool.
Yeah.
But if you suck, he's going to take over from you. And she's like, oh, she knows what she's doing? Cool, I didn't got to do it then.
So weirdly, my second favorite moment in this is when he's describing Crom, his god, and I loved that.
The only thing about that is exactly almost to the sentence the way he did it in the first story, which I kind of like.
Yeah. So it's more the context. Like she's talking about like gods and whatnot, and
he's like, yeah, well, mine.
Yeah, it's like my god doesn't care. Like I would rather not have his attention. Like life is a struggle. Like.
There's a famous quote in that section that I highlighted. Apparently, like everyone highlights.
Yeah, so it's like I really enjoyed that. Like I wasn't as big on necessarily the conversation as a whole. Mm-hmm. Although it did very much have a reason because how it ends.
Exactly.
To keep it from being too Gnosis Machina. There at the end.
Well, no, that's good writing.
Yeah, no, he set it up. Like, he Chekhov gunned it. You know, but no. So I really like that. But the other thing was like there's something primal in me that loves a story that involves you going up a river, like a river like this. I love the movie Anaconda. Mm-hmm. I love Apocalypse Now. I've written a short story that's like this of a riverboat in a steampunk world going upriver, and like shenanigans ensue.
Which one is that? Have I read that one?
No, you haven't read that one.
Okay.
Are you trying to find the quote?
Yes. Here it is.
Okay.
It's when they're in that conversation talking about the gods and all this stuff, and then basically he's like, Let teachers and priests and philosophers brood over questions of reality or an illusion. I know this. If life is illusion, then I am no less an illusion. And being thus, the illusion is real to me. I live, I burn with life, I love, and I slay, and I am content.
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
What is best in life?
That's so, to me, that so fits what he is.
Yeah.
And it's a smart way to live. It's basically saying, live in the moment. Like, don't overthink.
Don't fight the things you can't change.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, so story was great.
Yeah. You get a little of that cosmic horror.
Oh,
You actually get a lot
of it. I was really excited. I was like, oh man, this is so
Which I was wondering how you were going to take that, because it was a dream sequence, and I know you're not big on dream sequences.
Yes, but it wasn't a weird dream sequence. It wasn't one of those.
Well, it was a very weird.
No, but it was not one of those where you're sitting there wondering what the rules are.
No, yeah.
And it's not fucking a chapter long.
Right.
And it's like, okay.
It was a touch expository. But it was meant to be. Yeah, if you think about it, really, you could have cut that out if you wanted, because you don't really have to know the origin of this thing.
Yeah, well,
but it was nice.
I think it was.
I liked it.
So I say it adds more to horror, because you realize that these things are so ancient, or this thing is so ancient and old and fucked and just terrifying.
Yeah,
that you needed that to understand what he's faced with.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I appreciated that moment.
Yeah. I liked the scene with the hyenas coming up. Just, he's dropping them with arrows, and then gets down to the fight with the two. One's biting at his throat. That was a cool fight scene.
Loved that scene so much because of the way, like, you see the story, you know what's happening, and then it's like, okay, second to last chapter, it's just him sitting there on a throne,
which is
waiting,
so badass,
just fucking waiting. He's like, well, this is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And then it happens, and then like he ends up getting rid of his sword and trying to kill these things with his bare hands.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, this is so
barbarian.
Cool.
So just
it's amazing.
Yeah.
And then I love the conclusion of it, where he's trapped into the thing.
Yeah, and she comes back
just like
for a brief moment,
like
she promised.
So fucking cool. And then like him finally getting it off, and then just like, oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
So good. I don't, other than the weird stuff about race, there wasn't anything
wrong with this.
This. It was just so good.
No, it was paced well. It, you didn't bog you down with too much stuff you didn't need. And it just, I liked how it, like, it's like, it talks about how, like, hey, like that whole thing of like a ship went up, and then like 3 days later the ship comes back and there's no one on it except for one guy madly.
Perfect sense.
And it just sets such a tone and you're just like, oh, what's coming?
And it's like, please don't go there. Please don't. Oh, we doing that? Oh, okay. And then the way she reacted with the gold, or with the...
Yeah. I'll say this. My one legit problem with it was, to me, it wasn't... When he comes back to the ship and she's there hanging, that scene was a little confusing to me. Like, as I had to reread that scene like 3 times before I
understood what was
before I fully understood what was going on.
What part of it did you not get?
The way that, like, basically the way that she was hanging, kind of deal. But out of a 10,000 word story, let's say 11,000 word story, if that's the...
Is that the thing? Yeah.
That's the one thing.
There was a couple of places where I kind of had to look at it a couple of times and go, am I exactly understanding what he's saying here? Yeah. And
because sometimes he does kind of tend to yada over some stuff, and you're just wondering, like, did I miss something? Right. Or did he just not tell us?
And when he yachted over that, is it that important, or do I just need to understand that happened?
Yeah.
We're just moving on.
Yeah. No. Some problematic issues with the portrayal of race in this. Just very white savior, like the white woman is in charge. The white people are in charge. The black people are underlings. That was a little problematic, but it's shitty but you kind of have to take. I mean, no one has to fucking take it. You're a grown ass person. You could
just not read it.
Yeah, hate on the story as much as you want, but like taking it in the context, guy in Texas, 1930s, it could have been a lot fucking worse.
Well, the thing is, and maybe I missed it, but I don't remember them ever, like, okay, white lady in charge of black sailors. I don't really remember it ever being like, basically they just like, she's really good at what she does, so they follow her.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, so they're following her because she's good at what she does.
Yeah.
I'm cool, man.
Yeah. There were just a few parts that's more just like tropey, kind of like, oh, the blacks are all scared kind of deal, and like
they were smart. You shouldn't be scared. You shouldn't have been there.
True.
That's the thing that I always thought of was like, yeah, you shouldn't be there. These fucking morons are going in here.
No one should be there. I did like the callback, Black Lotus to Black Lotus.
Yeah, when that happened, I was like, no, that's the Black Lotus.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So that was cool.
But I thought the Black Lotus was the thing that killed the lions.
It is, so but it was a powder.
Him? Okay.
Powdered form of it.
Okay, I think it probably had stuff added to it. Okay.
Yeah. And I think it may have been like the touch. He never touched it. It's just like the pheromones got him kind of deal. So, that was neat. And it makes me wonder: is that where like the Black Lotus magic card is that? I don't know much about card. Lotuses. Yeah. I don't know if there's an actual Black Lotus in the real world or anything or what. But it just makes you wonder: is that where the magic card comes from?
I don't know, but and you may be able to tell me this. I don't know how often the sorcery is so out there and like weird.
Yeah.
But if it's generally treats magic that way,
it's pretty common.
Amazing.
But if you think about it, like this is so early, you know. I mean, it's not like we got Tolkien yet, you know. Tolkien's not
before.
Tolkien was after, but then it came out after World War II. This stuff's written in like this stuff's written in the Depression.
I actually didn't know when it was written until you were telling me. But
I think this is like the mid 30s is when they like 33, 34, 35.
Did Tolkien do it after 1 or 2?
I thought it was after 2.
You might be right because he was in.
I thought it was in. Yeah, I thought it was in the 40s.
That sounds right. I wrote a paper on this, but
and hey, if we got this wrong, feel free to let us know.
Yeah.
But even still, even if Tolkien, like the portrayal of magic in Tolkien isn't.
Well, no, that's my point.
Yeah.
This is soft magic, which is used really well.
Eldritch soft magic.
Yeah, but it's great. Used really well because what is it supposed to be? It's supposed to be weird and scary and terrifying.
Yeah,
you're not supposed to really understand it.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you liked. I was worried. Dude, that you weren't going to like these because I know sometimes you're a little iffy on short stories, but
see, there's a through line. There's a character.
Yeah, you're actually getting because your biggest complaint is a lot of times not being able to see character growth, and we're not necessarily seeing a ton of character growth as much as we're seeing character progression.
Right, which is part of what character growth. And so part of what I liked, and I was a little.
Where's your red cloak, Derek?
Bruh. I need one. But part of the issue, or not really an issue, but it was something I appreciated because when him and Bellet got together, it kind of, at first, he didn't seem super, like, they don't sell you on the fact that he really cares for her.
Yeah.
Until she's gone, and then he flips, slam the fuck out.
Yeah.
Which I was like, okay, at least they gave me that.
Yeah.
But the thing that I really had to say about this is, bet you can't guess what I'm going to say.
You wanted more?
Should have been a novel. Because here's the thing.
Hey, but there are.
This is why
there are pirate Conan novels out there.
This is why I have to read the Robert Jordan stuff to see how it fits, because everything you gave me, you can do it the same way, but
you just want more of it.
But not necessarily, not like. I want more of it because there are things that you yada yada'd over that would give more depth to the character.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily need more world building.
Yeah.
Because they gave me enough of that, and it should be mysterious because that's the point. That's like the way it's built. But I needed more for there to be more impact to what is happening to the characters.
Fair.
So if I get that in a book, bro, oh my god, because like legitimately, so looking at this, I like when something is unapologetically itself.
Yeah, that this is like, very much that.
Cool badass dude doing badass stuff. Cool. Yeah. We're there.
I mean that's pulp. That's pulp anything, you know. It may not be good, but it's
it can go really bad.
It's unapologetically.
Well, see, that's the thing.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, but people lean on that too much. You can make really good pulp, and this is how you see that.
Yeah.
And then also the way the magic doesn't fit in is super weird. The cosmic stuff involved, the madness, the mystery, that's perfect. Okay. That element.
So what you're saying is when it comes back around to my turn to pick, I need to pick you some Lovecraft stories that are cosmic.
I don't like Lovecraft as much as this. Nowhere near.
That's fair.
Because, like, okay, we can do that, but it's just like that's all over the place and doesn't have a throw character that's going through all this stuff.
True.
And most of those characters tend to not be competent at anything. So I can't really latch onto them. We've got this hyper competent dude that's really good at the thing that he does.
Kill people.
Right, but he's also not good at other things, and he has character flaws.
Yeah.
And then you see him go through this stuff, and you see other people around him have their moments too, because Bellet was awesome.
Yeah.
The shaman guy that fixed him and stuff like that. Like, people have things, but the world that they built is like the kind of world I want to spend more time in.
Well, you know there is a Conan RPG.
Yeah.
I think it's a D6 system.
Oh, like tabletop?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, my buddy Jeff runs in that. He lives in like Colorado, but he runs Conan stuff.
Is it a recent system?
There has been a somewhat recent system. And you know there's like an MMO. There was a Conan MMO.
Oh, no, the Conan Exile.
I played it a little bit.
It's a survival MMO. But no, you're talking about that. No, there's a new one that came out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's basically it's basically Minecraft but Conan, which I guess I probably should have mentioned because that seems like something you would like.
Yeah,
it's a survival RPG where open world, temples, creatures that curse you.
Yeah, you
go out and you can bring people back as slaves to make them work your
industries.
Yeah, your stuff like that. You can get slave dancer women. Like
very Conan.
Yeah, I mean it's Conan to a T, and it keeps going on sale, and I keep meaning to buy it, but I don't have anybody to play it with me.
I'm gonna have to look into this. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I love it. I love this Conan stuff.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna see about if one of those stories sounds like a good time in his life. It's a really good chance I'm buying one of those Robert Jordan books and start reading it like now.
Go onto and this is for you listeners out there as well. If you go onto the Conan Wikipedia page, there are a number of chronologies out there. So
they kind of like show when the stories take place.
Yes, but they also, I think Robert Jordan did one. He did a chronology, and it's not just the stuff that Howard wrote; it's the stuff that other people wrote later. Lynn Carter, I think, wrote a bunch of it. Maybe Sprague de Camp, I think, maybe might have written some. So there were some authors who took it and he really took the character and ran with them later. But unfortunately, they're all none of those were free to read.
See, my thing is,
I looked real hard to find one.
His stuff has been good, and I know I like Robert Jordan, so that's why I'm.
Yeah.
But there's a real chance I'll probably have to.
If you like comics, there's been Conan was my favorite comic growing up.
Yeah, I've read some of the more recent stuff, and there's.
Yeah.
We'll leave that alone. But
okay. All right. Well, I think we kind of covered this story.
Mm-hmm.
The next story is, I think, the Phoenix and the Sword. I think, I don't know. Go to our website, booksbeardsbooze.com. Go to the short reads, and it tells you right there what story is next. We've got 2 stories left in our Conan series.
And then our, what is it, Scott Lynch?
Scott Lynch story. Yeah. Something Days in Old Theridine, I think is the name of that. And so, all right, guys. Again, let us know. Just hit us back. Let us know. Especially, if you're someone who listened to us before and you're like, oh, hey, we're glad you guys are back. We would love to hear that. Because we had some momentum going before COVID, and then we kind of lost all of it. So it'll be interesting to see if people come back or we're just getting new listeners. We would love to hear from y'all. Any criticism you have, any ideas, if you have authors you think that we should do deep dives on like this, we'd love to hear it. Always open to new folks. So yeah. As your coming month comes, we hope that the blessing of the beard will be upon you. Thanks for listening. Please give us a like, review, or subscribe on the podcatcher of your choice. And you can support us directly at patreon.com/talesbybob. And as always, feel free to stop by our website, booksbeardsbooze.com.